our second presentation and our second topic. You have been breached. Now what? Cybersecurity breaches are inevitable, however many resources you allocate to prevent them. This reality reveals two problems with current cybersecurity practice. Current cybersecurity strategies which focus on defense are inadequate to prevent business disruption. Cybersecurity leaders treat cybersecurity incidents as events to be avoided at all costs, which is an impossibility. Outside-the-box thinker, problem solver, can-doer and go-getter. More than 14 years experience in IT, last 8 in cybersecurity. His focus is on tackling the world of cybercrime by constant evangelism of cybersecurity best practices to ensure increased security posture for users. Mr. Ivan Radoš, welcome again. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the kind words. Let me just share my screen. Do you see the screen right now?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, wonderful. So we can kick off. So basically, thank you very much for the kind words. My name is Ivan Radoš. I'm the account executive at Malwarebytes for EMEA region. And I'm going to talk today about how Malwarebytes can help you after the breach and how to increase your security posture. Basically, bear with me. So globally, every 11 seconds there is a ransomware attack, according to Maverick report by Gartner, and basically it says that the creation and monitoring of cyber resilience of cybersecurity is sorry about that. Every 11 seconds we see a new ransomware attack, and the average ransom right now exceeds $240,000, and some firms actually pay millions in costs of that. The average downtime for most firms after ransomware attack is almost 150 hours, which is resulting in high negative impact on revenue and company's reputation. So the anatomy of the attack pretty much looks like so. Ransomware attacks usually start with a phishing lure someone clicks on, or a brute force attack via remote desktop protocol. And now more prevalent, that is more prevalent now with remote work, or a security gap that has been exploited by a rootkit or obfuscated malware or a zero-day attack. Once infected, most solutions often miss detecting more sophisticated malware, and this malware acts like a virus and moves laterally throughout the network. And if it's detected, IT often creates a support ticket to remediate and then clean up the infection. They may reimage an endpoint, which can be time-consuming and difficult, and it's not effective at removing malware that has spread to other endpoints. And once the malware spreads, it will eventually execute ransomware. This can cost hundreds of thousands, as well as inflict severe damage to the organization and their customers. So let me just go to the next one. The US has, due to the recent outbreak and escalation of ransomware attacks, such as Colonial Pipeline, the US government issued Presidential Cybersecurity Order 14028 last year in May, and the details include that all federal agencies must comply towards FTC, DOE, DOT, DOJ, SBA, and such regulations. It requires from them to use EDR, CM, incident response, multi-factor authentication, and cloud solutions, and so on. It requires to comply with the NIST guidelines like Zero Trust Architecture, IT and OT, and so on. NIST will update and create more guidelines that impact more organizations in 2021 and 2022. So it's a rolling framework that keeps being updated. Pretty much the executive order applies to agencies and all companies that carry out work on their behalf. Most of the companies adhere to the NIST regulation or something similar like NIST or CIS, and even if it's not required, they will likely adopt the more stringent controls to use, like EDR, incident response, or ZTA framework. Majority of EMEA and APEC agencies will likely follow the same path, and many foreign businesses that do business with U.S. agencies. Just bear with me. So the NIST has recently focused on ransomware, and is often quoted by leading analysts and referred to in numerous research reports. Most international cybersecurity organizations such as ENISA, NISC, and ACSC often adopt NIST framework best practices and provide similar framework to their organization. In order to achieve optimal cybersecurity posture and avoid ransomware, nearly all firms seek to adopt NIST framework or similar frameworks and their architectures. So let's talk about NIS 2016 directive, right? So in Europe, the Network and Information Systems Directive from 2016 used similar guidelines found in the NIST cybersecurity framework. The directive mandated the establishment of CSIRT teams in each member state or country. In order to comply, firms must implement adequate incident response framework and teams. This underscores the new mantra that resilience and recovery are just as important as detection and protection. And in order to avoid penalties, and more importantly, to avoid ransomware, 83% of EU companies are now comply, and many others will follow soon. So, when it comes to Gartner research finding, right? So, in the Maverick research report, "You will be hacked, so embrace the breach." Gartner says that cybersecurity breaches are inevitable, but many security and risk management leaders still think they can prevent all hacks by throwing people and money at their defenses, which proved to be not quite true. Instead of striving so hard to prevent the breaches, those organizations should focus on resilience and embrace the fact that they will be hacked, and use incidents to learn from. They also outline how to become a more cyber resilient organization, and how to attain minimal viable cybersecurity. As you can see, to become a cyber resilient organization, you should try to follow these 5 guidelines so that you are ready for future breaches that might happen. I did mention minimal viable cybersecurity, so let me just tell you what does that mean. So, to attain minimal viable cybersecurity and to ensure a more resilient security posture, many security teams have adopted the NIST cybersecurity 5-step framework, or something similar, such as CIS or NIS for the EU, or NISC for Japan regulations and framework. So basically, rather than rely only on protection and detection, which only covers 2 or 3 steps from this MVC, they invest in security solutions that cover all 5 steps. So this is basically the illustration of the NIST CCF dashboard, where Maverick report, according to Gartner, says that the creation and monitoring of a cyber resilience index will be key to determining the right balance of spending on minimal viable cybersecurity and resilience. But this index is, and its measurements will appear, well, they look unusual, so to say, from the traditional cybersecurity perspective. In example, the time between failures or breaches will be measured according to the opportunities for practice and experience. Crucially, the more time there is between breaches, the less prepared the organization will become, and the lower the resilience score will be. So conversely, the more frequent breaches occur, the more practice the cybersecurity team will get, and the more prepared it will be to react to and prevent or mitigate the impact of future breaches. So, and how does Malwarebytes align with NIST guidelines and similar guidelines? So let me show you. So the first step is, we all know that there is no solution that is 100% effective. So according to NIST, they recommend identifying threats by not trusting endpoints. They should be frequently scanned and cleaned, and Malwarebytes incident response is well known for detecting threats others miss. Our intuitive cloud-native Nebula console makes it fast and easy to manage our security products and to keep your endpoints clean. Also, the new NIST mandates now require usage of CM or SOAR technologies, and we offer seamless integrations with both. I'm just going to mention a couple of these best practices and what are the benefits from it by utilizing the solution. So basically, you have an on-demand and scheduled threat scans. With them, you find and remove malware or artifacts before they execute ransomware. You should remove. It will allow you to remove all executables, artifacts, and changes that may have occurred. Namely, malware spreads 100+ artifacts that can cause reinfection, such as potentially unwanted programs or potentially unwanted modifications. And after that, you should scan and clean the devices to implement and maintain a zero trust model. According to NIST ZTA 800-2017 framework recommendation, it recommends frequently scanning, assessing, and cleaning endpoints from potential malware. You should use a non-persistent or dissolvable or lightweight persistent agents within your environment, which will enable you to have a lower CPU and memory usage, reduced performance and impact on user disruption. Cloud Management Console, which will allow you to have a threat visibility in the dashboard. It will ensure ease of management and visibility into potential ransomware attacks, so that you do have a visibility over what's going on. The recommendation is always to use automated and on-demand reporting, notifications, and syslog support, which will improve ability to identify and respond to ransomware threats. And of course, there at the end, integration with CM or SOAR or ITSM solutions with seamless API integration. Basically, it will allow you to provide a full threat vector visibility to identify indicators of compromise, which do happen. So these are just a couple of CM or SOAR or ITSM integrations that we have. Currently, Malwarebytes offers robust integration for CM, for SOAR, and ITSM solutions. As the end result, this lowers IT cost and effort by automating IT support tickets after an alert, and endpoint infection eradication with a dissolvable agent and incident response updating. So these are just a few examples that I'll go with. How does it look when you have enhanced threat intelligence and awareness? Basically, all of your data, whether it's endpoint data, firewall data, network data, or email security data, will be fed into the CM platform, and the CM dashboard, alongside with our, will show you all threats and alerts in the dashboard based on correlated security data from all of these types of data that are being gathered. That is just enhanced threat intelligence and to increase awareness with the CM platform. Just bear with me. When it comes to automated incident remediation, that can also be done. So it can kick off from the SOAR or CM platform according to their playbooks and best practices. Basically, it means that they will generate a CM or SOAR alert. This alert will be fed into the Nebula Cloud platform, where it's going to have automated request, and it's going to kick off the automated support ticket, which will initiate the auto install of agent remotely. After it's being scanned, detected, and remediated, the agent will auto dissolve, and it's going to generate these auto update support ticket for your teams. When it comes to orchestrated security practices, the flow chart is a bit different. Basically, you do have our Nebula Cloud platform, and according to ZTA architecture, it has scheduled endpoint scans, which will trigger the alert if something happens. The alert will be fed into SOAR or CM platform. As a result, it will have automated support ticket, which SOC analyst will see and do the triage and act accordingly. Once the analyst kicks off install of the agent remotely, the agent will scan, detect, and remediate the endpoint and auto-dissolve afterwards, and the auto-updated support ticket will be generated for the analyst. When it comes to step 2, according to NIST framework, it comes down to multi-factor authentication, which is a must, where most organizations should have it or must have it. In addition, most security products offer excellent protection for step 2, and so is our solution there as well. Our multi-vector and ransomware protection includes multiple layers of defense to protect against zero-day unknown malware strains, including obfuscated malware that can execute ransomware. Brute force attacks on remote desktop protocol is a primary way ransomware is perpetrated, and we have brute force protection built into the Nebula Cloud console. Customers who've used it say it's one of the industry's best. And I'll share just a few best practices and what are the benefits from utilizing our solution. Namely, we have real-time virus, malware, spyware, and adware protection. It basically prevents infections on pre-delivery before they lead to ransomware. Then the next step would be to have a brute force attack via remote desktop protocol protection. This is critical for majority of remote workers. RDP is primary ransomware attack vector. Then you have multi-vector protection, where multiple layers of protection will stop attackers at any point in the attack chain. On top of that, you do have web protection capabilities, which helps prevent access to malicious websites, ad networks, and scammer networks. And at the very end, application hardening, which means that you're going to have reduced vulnerability to exploit surface and proactively prevents fingerprinting attempts used by advanced ransomware attacks. Let me just touch base on brute force protection. So Malwarebytes EDR solution now includes brute force protection for Windows workstations and servers to improve detection, block malicious login attempts, and prevent intrusion attacks targeting remote desktop protocols on Windows workstation and servers. Managed through the Malwarebytes Nebula Cloud platform, this new feature is easy to configure and use. It basically allowing security teams to get up and running very quickly. Brute force attacks are on the rise due to increase in RDP usage during the COVID-19 pandemic and have become a popular vector for ransomware. Our powerful scan and detection engine provides stronger protection against infections from exploits, and it's packaged and polymorphic malware, which makes it ideal for remote work environments where users may be easier targets due to less stringent network security as compared to traditional office settings, which makes sense. People work from home. Built for power and speed, our new engine includes advanced anomaly detection and is optimized to use 50% fewer CPU resources while scanning. When it comes to step 3, which is detection in our process, many other solutions are not as effective at detecting obfuscated or new zero-day malware or hard-to-detect rootkits, which can at the end compromise credentials and trigger a ransomware. Also, Malwarebytes was issued some of the earliest patents for ransomware detection, including 1 for file comparison and 3 for behavior-based detection. So, unlike others, our unique anomaly detection detects malicious behavior that most matching-based technologies often miss. How do we achieve that? Well, we use, as I did mention, we use real-time detection for zero-day, fileless, and obfuscated malware, which ensures detection of unknown as well as known malware that causes ransomware. Anomaly detection machine learning technology, it's going to help you detect behavior anomalies that matching-based technologies may miss. We also use exploit mitigation, which proactively detects and blocks attempts to abuse vulnerabilities and remotely execute malicious code on endpoints. And furthermore, we utilize payload analysis, where anti-malware technology is used that identifies entire families of known and relevant malware with heuristic and behavior rules. And of course, ransomware mitigation technology helps us detect and block ransomware via behavioral monitoring technologies. So, and now the step 4, according to NIST. The step 4 is a response step. So most security vendors focus mostly on detection and prevention and less on response. Most only isolate desktops from detected threats. Our solution also isolates networks, not just desktop on networks, and processes that were triggered by malware. So this prevents lateral spread that can lead to ransomware. Our cloud sandbox offers a safe cloud environment to detonate and observe suspicious files that can cause ransomware. Guided threat hunting allows you to find and fix security gaps that can lead to reinfections. So in our solution, the technologies that we use are suspicious activity monitoring, which is continuous monitoring and visibility of endpoint file system events, network connections, process events, and registry activities. And it prevents more sophisticated and targeted ransomware attacks. We also have something which we utilize. It's called guided threat hunting. It's a free-form threat hunting and advanced search across all devices managed. It can help you to prevent double ransom by finding security holes that cause reinfections. And we also utilize our integrated cloud sandbox. Basically, cloud sandbox allows you to observe behaviors and actions of suspicious files and validating local anomaly detection machine learning verdicts. That also helps you to have a safe environment to observe suspicious files that can cause ransomware. I did touch base that we also have multi-mode isolation. So it's more of a network, process, and desktop isolation, which stops ransomware from phoning home and locks out remote attackers. It is, in our case, critical to ensure all exploits are isolated to prevent malware from spreading and causing ransomware. Furthermore, we also have this aggressive mode threat response, which observes behaviors and actions of suspicious files. And again, it's validating local anomaly detection machine learning verdicts. And attackers now use more stealth and aggression, and this observes behavior and flags suspicious activities. After respond, we do have the recover step in the framework. And bear with me. So when other solutions detect threats, they don't usually offer the best recovery as such. There is 3-2-1 backup strategy, which is also not optimal. And although it was meant for recovery in case of a catastrophic disaster, ransomware as such is catastrophic. And in most cases, incident response procedures must include remote malware eradication, and we cannot continue to pay for reimaging. So reimaging was meant for recycled laptops, so to say. Your EDR solution should include a rollback to allow remote restoration of data files without relying on Windows shadow copies. And when we detect threats, Malwarebytes allows you to map them to the MITRE ATT&CK framework for threat analysis and resolution. Unlike others that only eradicate executables, our unique linking engine also cleans up changes, alterations, and processes that were affected. We also keep track of malware lateral movement to prevent ransomware, and we do a more thorough job of finding, quarantining, and cleaning up endpoints. But if ransomware does execute, we offer the industry's only 72 hours of rollback technology capability for Windows. And this has proven to be far more effective than simple backup recovery with such tools that are available there. Our best practices and benefits in such cases is to utilize ransomware rollback capabilities, which allows you to up to 72 hours of protection for files encrypted, deleted, or modified by a ransomware attack. We all know that there is no product that can claim 100% prevention, so this rolls back ransomware to eliminate average of $500K to $1 million of cost inflicted by a ransomware that we've seen. Linked remediation, what does it mean? It means that it's going to remove all executables, artifacts, and changes that may occur. When malware spreads, it usually generates 100 plus artifacts that can cause reinfection. One of the potential artifacts could be seen as potentially unwanted programs or potentially unwanted modifications. Furthermore, with quarantine and isolation of detected threats, you can isolate them for later remediation, but it's going to prevent threats from spreading and causing damage. You can always clean infected devices prior to reimaging, because reimaging only cleans initially infected machine and misses artifacts that have already spread. We also utilize Forensic Timeliner for ongoing threat investigations, which provides important incidents of compromise for security analysts and to prevent ransomware. Furthermore, I'd like to just mention about our EDR solution and how does it work and what type of protection we use here. Namely, our Malwarebytes endpoint protection and response provides businesses with a combination of multiple protection, detection, and response vectors. This would allow your IT and security staff to be able to stop an attacker across the entire kill chain and provide a plan B after infection or breach, including technologies and techniques to detect suspicious activity and respond to an incident. We're utilizing their web protection as a form of layer of protection where it prevents access to malicious websites, networks, and so on. And we also have application behavior protection, which prevents apps from infecting the machine, which is signatureless. We do utilize application hardening, which reduces vulnerability surface and proactively detects fingerprinting attempts used by advanced attacks. Furthermore, we have exploit mitigation, which proactively detects and blocks attempts to abuse vulnerabilities and remotely execute code and machine. Payload analysis, anomaly detection, machine learning, and ransomware mitigation. So yeah, this is how we provide these 5 steps after you've been breached on the pre-delivery, pre-execution, and post-execution stages of the attack. So sorry about this. Conclusions are that cybersecurity are inevitable and unfortunately unavoidable. Many resources no matter how many resources you allocate to prevent them, and it only reveals 2 problems with current cybersecurity practices. Current cybersecurity strategies which focus on defense are inadequate to prevent business disruption, and cybersecurity leaders treat cybersecurity incidents as events to be avoided at all costs, which is purely impossibility. So in their Maverick research, Gartner has argued that cybersecurity leaders must instead divert resources from defense to resilience and treat breaches as opportunities from which to learn how to be more resilient in the future. Sorry about this.
Mr. Ivan.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We had pleasure to hear this great presentation. I have one question for you. Is it true that most of software solutions are reactive? Do we have proactive solutions that can intercept the attack?
Yes, we do have a lot of proactive solutions that are fully automated or semi-automated or not automated. We do have such capabilities. It's all about integrating everything, all of the technologies that you have, integrating into a solution which will allow you to have some form of proactive threat hunting capabilities and automated response, so to say. So yes, there are solutions that are capable to do such things. One of them is our Malwarebytes EDR, which I just showed. So yeah, it does allow you to help you increase your security postures by just implementing such a solution. But on top of that, there should be also security awareness from the employee side. So yeah, combining those two will help companies increase their security posture.
Thank you, Mr. Ivan. Mr. Ivan Radoš, our second presenter.